So hi guys, and welcome to another video where the emphasis is on learning Tableau by doing. So what we have here is a very interesting visualization titled "Why Men Who Make Less Than Their Wives Lie About Their Earnings." So what we have out here is information that comes from the United States, and we have an area chart on the left, and it's between 1987 to 2015. So what we see is the share of wives that earned more than their husbands. So if you look at the data for 1987, we have close to 18% of women earned more than their husbands. But by the time we reach 2015, that share has climbed up to close to 30%. But what's interesting is also on the right-hand side. So we have data between 2003 to 2013, and what we see during this period is the husbands overstated their salary by 3%, close to 3%. And wives, on the other hand, understated their salary by 1.5%. Now, why this happened, your guess is as good as mine, but let's continue. So what we want to do out here is we want to try to replicate this viz in Tableau, and more importantly we'll try to see if we could kind of better our visualization. Okay, so let's go ahead. So first thing we'll do is we'll try to hand code data for this visualization based on what we see out here and continue creating our visualizations in Tableau. Right, so we're going to open our file out here, and as you can see our file has two worksheets. So, and this is the name of the file, Women Earning More. So let's drag the first worksheet, and we have the year and percentage information, and this is a live feed. So let's go to our first worksheet and create an area chart. So first we'll drag the year to the column section and the percentage to the rows section. So as you can see, we have a line chart out here, but we want to change this into an area chart. Okay, so here's our area chart. I could play with the colors out here. So the important point is what we want is to create a border. So let's see if we can create a border. So here's a border. The only problem is that I cannot tweak the border to make it thicker. So anyway, we leave it at that. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to change this to average just to be on the safer side. Now what I'm going to do is let me drag another pill out here and make this average 2. And what we'll do is we'll make the second chart a line chart. Now what's interesting about the line chart is I could independently create a border, and I could also change its thickness. Now what if I superimposed both these charts on each other? So let's try to do that. So as you can see out here, I cannot, the reason I'm doing this is because I cannot change the border of the area chart. Okay, but I can do that for the line chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to superimpose both these charts on one another, and the way we can do that is by going to the spill out here and creating a dual axis. So there we go. Okay, so now what I could do is I'll just hide this information out here, this axis information, the text as well as the major and minor tick marks. Great. I also do not like these grid lines. So let's format this section, go out here to the lines and hide the row grid lines and the column grid lines. Okay, so that looks much better. I still have lines on the border, but we'll deal with that later. And let's also hide this title. So as you can see, I'm just having a basic graph out here, and I'll deal with text later at the dashboard level. So coming to these axes, let me also format them a bit. So I'm going to remove the title, and also look at the major tick marks and have it in fixed intervals of 5 rather than 10. And also go back out here, and since they are, I'll have it information in multiples of 5. Okay, so that's great. And we go back to the minor tick marks, and we have an interval of 1. So that a bit more visibility out here. All right, so let's see how this looks. Right. That looks much better. And also let's do the same for the y-axis, and again we remove the title, and then this is fine. And let's go back to the tick marks, the major tick marks intervals of 10 and minor tick marks intervals of 5. Okay, that looks fine. And let's finally preview things and see how they look. So as you can see, an extremely basic area chart with a prominent border, and this is what we want. I don't like the color, but we'll change that later. Now coming back to our original visualization, we see we have finished the area chart, and now let's turn our attention towards the bar chart on the right. So going back to Tableau, we see that we have our one data source, so we create another data source pointing it to the same Excel file, and this time we are going to use the other worksheet, so we'll drag that there. So as you can see, we now have two data sources, one for the percentage, one for the other difference worksheet. So now, having done that, we'll go back to sheet 1, and you can see sheet 1 is using the percentage data source. So we'll go to sheet 2 and use the difference data source, and we can see the fields from the difference data source. And let's drag in gender onto the columns and the percentage onto the rows, and we immediately have a bar chart. What we'll also do is drag and drop gender on color. So we have different colors for male and female, but let's use better colors out here. So we'll use the Tableau 20 palette and select appropriate colors. Okay, that's great. So now there's a little more cleaning up to do. So we'll first reorder things, remove this card out here. We'll also hide the grid. So we're basically reducing the amount of data ink we use. Again, we're hiding the horizontal and vertical grids, hiding the title also. And let's also hide this out here, and finally edit the axis and just hide the axis altogether. Okay, so now, let's hide this title also. Percentage, just remove that. Alright, so as you can see, pretty basic out here. And let us also hide the header. So now we've got a pretty basic bar chart, but let's add some numeric information. So we drag the percentage onto label, and you can see this has 3 places of decimal. So let's change that, and also add a percentage suffix. So we can go out here, right click and go to the number format and make it a custom number, and that has 2 places of decimal. And let's also add a suffix out here, and let's add the percentage, and let's see how things look. Okay, that's much better. Right, so now let us bring in all what we have done onto a dashboard. Right, so let's go and create a dashboard now. So this is our dashboard. So what we'll do is first we'll drag an horizontal layer, and then on top of this layer drag sheet 1 first and sheet 2 afterwards. So as you can see, they are laid out horizontally. So what I want to do is I want a bit of flexibility as to where I place these sheets. So I'll make both of them floating sheets. So this gives us the flexibility to basically drag, drop and stretch them as we please. So I'm just stretching the first worksheet and also stretching the second one. Okay, so now this is going to take some time because aesthetics is a pretty relative thing. So take your time with this and till you achieve a result that's what you desire. Okay, so here we are, the 2 worksheets, stretching them out. The only problem here is I'm not happy with these colors. Okay, so they look fine as they existed independently, but now as I put them side by side, I don't like them. So let's go back to the first sheet and let's go to this line out here, line chart, and change the color. And let's go to the area chart and change its color. Let's keep it gray. Okay, so now let's see if this looks any better. Okay, this is a darker gray, and now we go back. Okay, in my humble opinion, this is looking better. So I'm going to leave it as is. As you can see, I can move things around. So now let's drag out. Now we put our text out here. So here's my text, and I can create floating text objects. Let me go back and see what the text is, keeping up appearances. Okay, so let's go and add that, and we can select desired fonts, desired sizes, make them bold, so on and so forth, the regular stuff. And let me just do one for you. And basically this is how my text look. I can make the text also floating and stretch it and move it to a desired position. Okay, so you get the idea. So now let's do this for the other text too. And finally, this is the result we achieve. Okay, so this didn't take me too long, but again, it's relative. You might like it maybe you might not. So now let's preview this in presentation mode, and there we have it. Okay. So guys, I hope you liked this video and you found it useful. Please do not forget to write some comments and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.